Welcome to Real Deep Stuff. We've saved your seat at the table for this conversation. We're so glad you're here.
Then we got to go to a really special lunch. Would you like to describe that yummy, delicious lunch we had?
Yes, it was kind of almost seemed like a pot roast and potatoes, but it was veal, which I had never had. It was the most tender, delicious meal, probably the best one on the trip.
The potatoes were perfect, like perfectly cooked. And this fresh spinach that was wilted in it, that was yummy. And they had,
I'll trust you on that one.
I took your spinach. Hey, I'm there for you. I got your back. I will always take your spinach. And we got to try the wine, that they're known for. But it was so cool that it was a local restaurant and it was like family style eating. And remember the big party that was there, I think for a little girl's like either first communion or confirmation.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Everyone's taking pictures and we just felt kind of like locals. That was so fun. That was a nice meal. We didn't feel hurried. It was really nice. And then we went to the dessert cafe, which was another surprise. We didn't know we were doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that was like sugar overload because I think eggs and sugar were the main ingredient in every single dessert.
Yes, we learned all about the history for that the sugar, almonds, egg yolks, and most flour are the basics because the nuns using the egg whites to make the communion wafers, and so they were finding ways to not waste the egg yolks, and now they have found like an unlimited way to make desserts with those four ingredients. The dessert sausage was really cool. I think I liked that one the most just because it was different.
Yeah, I like that one. And then I don't know it wasn't a liquid, what that one that both of us brought back home. I don't know what that was, but I like that one too.
It looks like a jar of jam, but it doesn't taste like jam at all. The egg yolks like really cut the sweetness. So we were given just little demi-tasse spoons with it, but the jar that I brought home, we bought Petridge Farm little shortbread cookies and like dipped them with it. That was really good. It's almost impossible to describe how it tastes. Just delicious.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we took a tour. We got to try like 8 different desserts. That was so special and fun. They had a table ready for us for our group of 9, and it was so fun. And we took a tour of the monastery across the street, and then we got to have like 30 minutes at this pop-up community festival with a farmer's market. That was like glorious. Wasn't that fun?
That was fun. I mean, there was, I'm sure we looked a little like out of place there, but it didn't feel like it. It was just so much fun. It was just lots of families there.
Well, like the families were there with bumper boats and face painting, and then the older generations were sitting at tables passionately discussing whatever they were discussing. And we ran and got our picture taken with Mr. Tooth walking around, and that was just, oh my gosh, it was so fun. We felt like truly an immersion experience because it was outside of any big city, and we just kind of stepped into what they were already doing. And the farmer's market, oh my gosh, the fruit and the vegetables was just unbelievable. They were huge, and cherries as far as the eye could see. It was so fun. And then we took like an hour and a half drive back, and that was just what a day. What a day. I think most of our van slept on the way home.
Yes. It was a workout day. I mean, thankfully, I think we were fully prepared for that walk we didn't know was happening.
Yes.
And because we had been on the Camino and all of that. So I think we were, prepared for that, but we weren't expecting it.
And when the Camino ended, like, oh man, our rings on our watches and be yelling at us, like, move, move, move. And then we're like, okay, well, closed our rings today. Like, no problem. It was so unexpected. It almost felt like we had won a prize or something. And they kept going, now you get this. And because I don't know that our group knew much about it either. So it was just a delightful day. I loved every minute of it. It was just one of my favorite days of the whole trip. So that was pretty cool. And if we talk about trips, we took that 1 hour day tour to Sintra, a town, and then to a palace, and then How would you describe that, like, most western point? I never say it right.
Well, most western point of Europe, I think.
Okay. Or was it the Western Hemisphere? I thought.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it was the hemisphere because, and she remember she told us she's like it's really really windy.
Yes, I remember that one picture.
The Medusa picture.
Yes.
I was gonna delete it. You're like, send it to the guys. I'm like, okay. It's just not
Why
exactly
not?
flattering. I mean, literally, our hair is like in a wind tunnel, and people were literally struggling to stay upright and walk. It was insane, but that was
And then
pretty
the
cool.
sand was pelting our legs. It like really hurt.
Yeah, we got a free exfoliation on that little part of the trip. It was like sandpaper rubbing all over your skin, whatever it could touch. And we got to see what they call Portugal's mini Santorini, that little coastal town. That was pretty cool. And that was a fun day. It was another full, like, 9 hour day. And the palace was neat and all the intrigue and, scandal behind the history of that and how, and it was spooky because it was all foggy. I guess that area of Portugal has very unpredictable climate. And she was like, this is pretty typical where it's like sunny in Lisbon and all those, but yet here it looked like the dead of winter. It wasn't as cold as winter, but it was so foggy we couldn't see anything until we
But it
got to
was
the palace.
cold because it was the one time
Mm-hmm.
we didn't bring our jacket because we said we always bring it and never need it. So we didn't bring it and we needed it. At least I
And the
did.
ponchos. We were like, we carried these dumb ponchos around all over Spain and Portugal, and we're gonna lighten our pack, and we get to Sintra, our first stop, and it pours down rain. So that was that. And then so we bought cheap umbrellas, and we didn't expect them to like last a lifetime, but yours had a particularly short lifetime. Would you like to tell about that?
Yes, we were making one last pit stop before we got back on in the van, and so I hung them up in the restroom, and well, it didn't stick. So it was either save my backpack or the umbrella, and I chose my backpack. The other one landed in the trash, and I was not digging it out.
No. It's weird. You walk into a stall with two things, you come out with one. I'm like, what happened in there? The thing is, it's not really a proper hook. It's just like this little rod that sticks out. Because my stall had the same thing, and I hung my pack on it, and my pack was heavier than yours, and it immediately like slipped right off. And in this moment of panic, I just took the backpack midair. I wish someone had caught this on video because I was still standing fully dressed. It was like falling right into the hole of the toilet. And I just took it
Oh,
midair and I smacked the backpack to the wall of the stall and then grabbed with my right hand and then I grabbed it with my left hand, or else my phone would have been the demise like your umbrella because it was in the very outer pocket. First time ever, the whole time that I didn't have it in a zippered pocket. First time, because I was just going to go to the bathroom real quick. And all I could see was my phone falling into the toilet. And I was like, that is not
oh.
happening on my watch. So I actually hurt my right elbow was already wrenched. And it was my right arm that grabbed that thing midair and smacked it. And I was like, I think I just really hurt my elbow. So, but I saved everything. So your umbrella lasted not even a
No.
day. Mine came home with me, but I'm pretty sure the first time a big gust of wind comes, it's gonna like implode. But it's okay. So we Sintra was a little different because it was raining. That was the only time that we were like stuck by weather, like darting in and out of stores. Only time out of 3 weeks, so that's not too bad. Can't complain. But yes, we were cold. It was windy. It was like not raining at the palace, but so dewy and humid that it made you wet. It's just,
Hmm.
but like she said, that although it's not always that bad, it's also could be worse. So we were like, well, you get what you get. So that tour was nice. She was really fun. So if we circle back to the Camino, we started talking quickly about like the packing, like what we would and would not have brought. And I think, I could have definitely, because you and I want to do it again, right?
Right. Yes.
The guy that gave me my certificate, he says the rule of thumb is you do the Camino once and you're not done. So most people come back and do it a second time. He goes, after the second time, about half the people are at that point satisfied, like they did it. They could check it off their list and move on. He goes, the other half will continue to do them. And I think that's true for a lot of Europeans that just can get there easier by bus,
Mm-hmm.
train, whatever, weekend of hiking, whatever. So it's true. We're not done. We got bit by the Camino bug and we have to go back. And I will pack lighter next time. Maybe one extra outfit to kind of elongate laundry days, but not so many creature comforts that I thought I needed. Because I was like, well, medicine's different in Europe. And I'm sensitive. I know it works. And I just didn't need to bring. I guess I was preparing that I was going to catch everything possible. So I was like, short of a snake venom removal thing, I pretty much had everything else. So
Well, I
maybe just
found it interesting that how long I could go without certain toiletries. I mean, went 3 weeks without hairspray, and in Texas, everybody uses hairspray. So
Mhm.
I didn't use it for 3 weeks, and I don't know. I
You
mean, my hair was
still
pretty
have
much
beautiful
in a
hair.
clip every day, but
Yeah,
it.
you are blessed with great hair. I thought I had brought a travel size of hairspray because I bought it without looking closely the first time I get to our first hotel or albergue in Spain. And I looked down, I'm like, oh, it's mousse. That is not hairspray at all. So I had mousse hair, but no hairspray. But your hair looked good and mine looked like a hot mess. I told you that my hair was like that unwanted relative that joined itself on our trip. So thankful for the last minute, very last second before I left to go to the airport from North Carolina, I threw in my trusty baseball cap, and that stayed on my head most of the time. I don't know what I would have done without it. So that was a saving grace of my pride. But
Yeah, I bought
yeah,
one.
you did. So yeah, there's definitely some packing things to learn. But talking about coming back home, like for as far as reacclimating, what have you found has been like the easiest or most difficult thing about re-entering real life?
Um, I was surprised how quickly I just adjusted back into my normals. Like, on the Camino, you kind of have a schedule, but it's like you're only taking care of yourself. You're not worrying about, you know, keeping up the house or anything like that and all your daily rituals. But I was surprised how quickly I got back into that.
Wow, lucky you. I, I'm jealous. I went through this. We've been home a week, and I gotta say, a full 6 days of just, I wouldn't call it pouting. I wouldn't call it that, but grieving. Like I just missed a lot of things about what we had there. And kind of back to reality. I know, like we've just in our personal life, we have a lot of moving parts right now, and that those keep me up at night. So it was kind of like, oh boy, buckle up, Buttercup, back to reality with all of that stuff. But um, I loved my routine at home, but I didn't miss it while I was there.
Oh, I didn't
And
either.
no, yeah, and I kind of feel like now that I'm home, I kind of miss the simplicity of what it was. I was so happy to be back, of course, with friends and family. But yeah, the reality kind of bites. It's like, okay, back to, I had almost a month's worth of emails and paper mail and all kinds of stuff to catch up on. I don't, and you take that little wonder drug to help you with jet lag that I'm too scared to try.
Well,
And
I messed it up on the way back. I didn't take it properly. So it did take a while to adjust coming back, but yeah.
Okay. How long would you say before you felt right side up again?
I'd say probably 2 days.
I had my first good night's sleep last night, which is a week. So you're an overachiever, and I'm an underachiever. No, I was waking up at 4:15 and 4:22 like every morning, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" So I lay there until you get a headache and start thinking about things. So, and then it would stretch to like, "Oh, I stayed asleep till 5 a.m. today." So it literally last night, because I wear the Freestyle Libre glucose monitor. I'm not diabetic. I'm not even pre-diabetic, but they'd have to go back and listen to mental health and blood sugar as to why I wear this. And I will say I'm proud to and excited to say last night was the first night I had normal numbers since before we left. So that's
Really?
good. I guess something in my body finally reset. Yeah, for sure. I didn't mention earlier on this podcast that the first night that we got there, since we had an overnight flight and we were ahead of 6 hours and just all upside down, that my blood sugar monitor crashed 10 times that night. You slept like a rock. You were like dead. I was looking at you like, I hate you right now, because I was up every time I would fall asleep, beep, 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 and I was like, I almost ripped the thing out of my arm. I was like, if this thing goes off one more time. So I'm getting up and I'm like eating half an apple, and then I'm eating a meat stick, and then I'm eating whatever, nuts, and standing in the bathroom of a hotel, which is not ideal to be eating. And I'm just sitting there like almost in tears going, what else do I have to put in my mouth to stay asleep? And on the 10th time it crashed, it actually went so low. It said out of range, and it gave me the words, the letters LO, low. I've never gotten that in all these months of wearing it. Something bad happens to jet lag in Kristi's body when I'm losing time like that. I didn't have that on the way back. I just couldn't sleep. But my blood sugar didn't crash at all when I got back. But now I know this thing has been so educational to say like, okay, if I'm going to be going anywhere in the world where it's been almost 24 hours of travel, and then you're ahead of your body clock, I'm going to have to do something to offset that. And I remember shaking the blender bottle of my whey protein in the bathroom, trying not to wake you. But you were sleeping you were like Snow White, just sleeping. And I was like, can I have what you're having? But I really was happy for you. Like, I genuinely, because I was like, listen, you were like, I feel bad. I'm like, no, both of us can't be down at the same time. One of us has to be up. So like, good. I'm glad you slept. You can make the decisions for the day. Don't let me sign any legal papers, because I'm out of my mind right now. Just stuffing my face with Santiago cake at that buffet breakfast, trying to put anything in me to get me going. That was rough. That particular moment was rough, but very happy that you were on the ball, so we don't, wind up falling off the face of the earth. So, okay. So the next question I was thinking would be fun would be, what are some takeaways from the Camino, particularly if anyone's interested or curious? Because a lot of people that I personally know have never heard of it, or they've maybe heard of the movie made about it, but they just didn't really know. And so they're curious. They just want to know more about it. I personally have friends now that are interested in going and doing it, which is like awesome. So what are some takeaways that you would say? I wrote down a whole list, but I talk a lot, so I thought I'd let you go first.
Well, I would say definitely anyone can do it. We saw people all stages of life, all different physical abilities. So I would say anyone can do it. You just measure, if some, they want to just do a bunch in one day. I don't care how physically fit you are. I would not recommend that, just because you can't enjoy it. But, we saw people that they kind of looked really out of shape, but they were doing it.
Breaks and walking sticks and all of that, but they were doing it, and we were just so stoked for them, just cheering them all the way. And people that were literally, well, not literally twice our age, they were like in their upper 80s doing it. So yeah, anybody can do it for sure. You can walk, you can do it. What else?
Oh, what else?
How about I'll read my list, and then
Okay.
you might find some things to add in. So I put, and this is it's taking a page out of another pilgrim. When we got to a place, every day we seemed like we were jockeying with the same pilgrims walking. it's weird. And like the next day it'd be a different group of people, but you just kind of keep seeing the same people. Like you pull off for a pit stop or cafe con leche or just whatever. And then you just kind of keep passing back and forth the same people. And one guy I remember got to a cafe before us and I said, "Oh, you beat us." And I was just joking around. And he just he was older than me. And he looked at me and he was, because I was kidding, but he looked at me seriously and kindly. And he said, "Every Camino journey is its own. There's no comparing here." And I was just like, I did not know I was going to meet this wise sage Yoda today. Okay.
I don't remember that part.
I don't think you were standing with me. I think you were getting your coffee and I was holding the table. I was a good table holder. And I just thought, thank you for reminding me of that. I appreciate that. So every Camino journey is its own and no comparing. And then to that point, to go at your own speed, whatever that speed is, set a goal and complete it, whether that be like, how many days you're going to do it in or how far you want to go, or any personal, like maybe there's certain amount of photograph landscapes you want. I don't know how many people from other countries you're going to meet. Anyway, it's fun to set a goal and complete it. Prepare ahead. We were walking for months ahead of this. We were, getting our shoes broken in. We were buying our wool socks, that kind of stuff. Prepare ahead for sure. Be flexible and open to adjusting the plan as needed for any type of reason. It could be weather, health, whatever.
Food.
Just food. Be flexible with the food.
Accommodations, no AC.
No AC, flooding in the bathroom, just, things you don't plan on, because really, truly, I think it's not so much what happens that can ruin a trip, but our reaction and response to it. And that's true in anything in life. It's really our attitude that makes or breaks something. I mean, sometimes horrible things happen, but other times, more likely, it's things that are like annoying or disappointing, in my opinion, that can really, throw a wrench in things. But I learned that it's my response to that that's going to be whether or not I've had a good time. So you and I just laughed our heads off the whole way through, even when we wanted to cry with like the whole bathroom flooding in that one place we stayed. And that was not comfortable to stay in as far as the smells and stuff like that. But we started laughing about it like immediately, and it made it doable. Another one would be to heed other people's advice. So when that guy in the laundromat Chicago, when Chicago said, "Hey, you should get these Calm Peat things for your feet, these special bandages," and we ran across the street and bought them. We're like, well, we don't really need them, but we'll buy them. We wound up using them, and I'm like, thank you, Chicago. that was great advice. So heed other people's advice. Like, I don't know it all. I'm the first person to say that, and so I welcome other people's input, and then savor the moment. And that goes along with the next one would be don't blow through it. And I'm thinking of the fairy forest when you and I stopped just to really gaze at such a beautiful forest, and two bikers, a couple, a male and a female, went by, and she actually circled back on her bike and stopped and took pictures. And I think had we not been standing there looking at it, saying how pretty it was, I think she wouldn't have even seen it. Like, it caught her attention. So I think you and I did a good job of taking our time and really taking it all in, and not be so goal driven. Like, you want to set a goal, but not so driven that like everything else is just, flying by and not seeing it. And that goes to the next point, which would be enjoying all the senses. You and I, with everything we saw, heard, tasted, smelled, touched. Not all the smells were great. When we went through farmland, that was a challenge. The dairy farm.
Always seemed to be early in the morning.
Always. And everything was nice and fresh, if you know what I mean. That was awesome. And that time with the flooded bathroom, I still giggle when I think about, and I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you, that I've never seen you dry heave so much ever in one period of time. You're just like, oh, just like, when we went to leave that morning and it's a keyed lock and you were trying to do the key and you couldn't get it, you're holding your breath. It was like the crack of dawn. Like, so other people were still sleeping. We're in the hallway fussing with this lock, and you were just like, it was like It's like the room was on fire because you were like, just go, run. You just start running down the hall and you're going to pass out because you hadn't taken a breath. I just was going to pee myself laughing so hard. You're just, the way you were running in your face and your sound, you were just like, save yourself. I think I'm always gonna laugh about that moment. It was so funny. All right, so yes, even the bad senses, we gotta like enjoy everything. So then another one would be to be open to try new things and meet new people, which I think we've talked about, which is so important. And to stay grateful and don't complain. I'm so blessed that I was with a traveler that just never complained. I mean, even when it was like, it was hot or we were thirsty or the smell wasn't so great from the animals, you didn't complain. And I mean, complaining is just, it just drags us down. And so I think both of us tried hard to not do that in the moments where we could have. And I think we stayed grateful for the opportunity, because oh my gosh, even when we were in Plaza de Rey and we're walking on the sidewalk and I stepped in that giant pile of something to the point where I slipped and almost fell. And I was like, what was that? We still can't figure out what body that came from. What was that?
Did you ever get it out of your shoe?
No, I'm going to have to do a little homework on that. But even when I slipped like that, I still found humor. And I was like, but guess what? We're in Plaza de Rey, like Spain. Like, this is so awesome. Even when I'm stepping in a giant pile of something, this is awesome. And then a couple other things that I wrote were ask for help. Never be afraid to ask for help. On the Camino, it's very important. Like when you and I would be at a crossroads, the Camino would have two different directions, left or right. And we're like, I don't know. My first reaction was, let's just wait till someone comes by and ask them. Maybe they know, and just ask like, how far to the next restroom or whatever. Just ask for help. And then also in turn, be willing to help others. When the day we got off trail and someone called us back, well, then it was our turn, our last day of walking, where the guy in front of us clearly went to the left when he should have gone to the right. We got to return the favor and say, hey, dude, wrong way. So, being willing to help others and trust your judgment, whether it's where we're putting our next footstep because it's rocky, road, or it's slippery or something, or just knowing when to call a day. We could have stayed up on our phones all night watching things, but we chose to go right to bed, and that led to a cheerful morning the next morning. Like, we're very disciplined about that. So trusting your judgment, and then appreciate the little things. Like, we'd stop literally to smell the roses, and just appreciate like every milestone that Camino would go down in another 10,000 increment. Like, now you have 79,000, now 60,000 kilometers. We celebrated. We're like, yay, we're that much closer. That was that. And then push yourself. We each, I think, had mental, physical, or emotional moments where we had to kind of push through walls. And I think we did that pretty well. We had like one more, that's day 4, the angry episode. Like, I was, after an hour and a half of me stewing about that, I was like, how are you? You're like, I'm good. I said, what have you been listening to? You're like, I just put on my praise and worship. I was like, well, that's an angelic response. I have chosen to walk and be angry. but we were both choosing different ways to let it go, which we did. So end result was good. And then enjoy the ride. Enjoy every single moment of it. I really, truly, every single moment, even the tough day 3, the full incline day, that was just so, the sweet reward of accomplishing that was just really super fun. So enjoy the ride. So those are my takeaways from the Camino. Would you have anything to add to that?
I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, that was really good.
What would be your takeaways from the entire trip, all inclusive?
Oh,
I'll do mine first. I don't want you to feel put on the spot. I'll do mine first.
Okay.
Would be plan and then do it. Make a plan, work the plan. Like, you and I started a year ago talking about it, and we had to talk about it for months, just talking about it before we could actually like funnel down to like decision making. Don't let life stop you. There will always be something at home, in your personal or work life, that would be reason enough not to go. And that means we never go and do anything. So don't let life stop you as far as you can control that. Try new things, which we have talked a lot about what we've done, food and experiences. Stay open-minded. That is very important, I think, to keep that positive perspective on things, just to stay open-minded about the people we meet, the things we do, where we go, and get in shape. We planned ahead, and well, my back is a whole separate entity, but head to toe, we were good at the end. Like, the walk was not a problem. I mean, we then went on to do the equal amount of miles all over Portugal. So clearly, we planned ahead to get in shape. Expect things to go wrong, whether it be my luggage getting checked unexpectedly, losing one of my very favorite earrings that I still have to now figure out how to find that pair again online somewhere. Whatever it was, things will go wrong, like, your umbrella falling in the garbage, and just expect it. Things are going to go wrong. And then that way we've kind of walked through that and been like, well, ahead of time, just be like, whatever's going to happen it is what it is. And we'll work with it and we'll be fine. Stay flexible, which is part of that. Just stay so flexible. Wet noodle. That's what I hear in my mind. Laugh everything off. Listen to your body. It will tell you what you can and can't do for that day or that moment. Immerse yourself in other cultures. Just lean into it. Don't try to bring whatever culture you're from. Like, we're from America, so I'm not going to just impose my Americanism on wherever I am. I'm going to leave that behind, take my patriotism with me, but leave it behind and say, how do you guys do it here? I want to do how you do it. And as long as it doesn't compromise my faith, I'm all in. So immersion is very important. Stay on budget. There were times, once we were done with the Camino part and we were in Portugal, we could have just kept on shopping. That would have been easy because there were beautiful things to buy, but we were very budget conscious. And like, I flew over there with frequent flyer miles, and you were so generous to use your family's hotel points for us. Like, that was just, there were ways that we trimmed edges, and that made it really and doing the travel service was an all-inclusive, like, one price meant breakfast and dinner every night stay, and taking our luggage. So we didn't have to worry place to place what it was going to cost, which was a huge load off our mind, because then we didn't have to carry cash and all that kind of stuff. I would also say digital and hard copies of tickets, itineraries, and documents to come with both. I know you and I, with our bus tickets, our train tickets, whatever it was, we even printed out, each of us, like 50 pages that the travel service sent us of the itineraries, what each town is like. We had all of that with us, hard copy and digital, in case something happens, in case a phone gets stolen or broken, or, like, one of the transportation things, you had to have a paper ticket, not a digital ticket. So I just found it good to do both. Trust yourself, but surprise yourself with trusting your limit or stretching your limit. So trust yourself. Like, we're not going to lose our heads to have lifelong regrets about something, but also be willing to stretch our limit a little bit, to try something new that maybe we wouldn't have done in our daily life. Two more things I have would be to be a traveler, not a tourist. I find the word tourist very insulting and offensive to me. I don't ever want to be called a tourist. I want to be a traveler where you just kind of quietly slip in and join the culture you're in and fully enjoy it for what it is. And lastly would be always be ready and willing to help others. And there were times where we got to do that. And it was really great. I have a friend, I've said it before, where his motto in life is, if you see a need, count to 3. And if no one else, because it can't be you all the time being Superman. There's no one person. Jesus was the only one person that could save the world. So if there's a need and you see it, like, count to 3. And if no one else sees it, then it was meant for you. So, like, always being willing to help. What would you add to that?
I don't think I can.
I had a little time to sit and contemplate. So
I totally agree with all of that. That is, yes, that is all. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, then, how do you think the Camino compares to a vacation?
I think it's all how you look at it, because I still consider it a vacation, because you're leaving all your stuff at home behind. And I think that it's a gift that we got to go. So is it a little, I mean, a lot of times on our vacation, we're always doing something. We don't just sit at the hotel. So, but I still consider it a vacation. It may have just been a more physical vacation, but I mean, I enjoyed the daily walking on the trail, and it just makes you think that, of course we did the relaxed version, but people back in biblical times, they walked everywhere.
I know, it's just not a thing. Yeah, for sure. I agree with you completely. A couple of things that I thought about was when people typically think of a vacation, it's like, well, let's go to the beach, and then you get to a hotel at the beach, and then you go down to the beach and you play in the sand and that kind of thing. So I think for a lot of times it's less active than more. So I would say the Camino was more active than a typical vacation, unless there's intentional things planned, like you said. Because you guys, I know, have done the cruises that have the excursions and all of that, and that's awesome. That I know Bruce wants me to do that one day. I'm trying to gear myself up to be on a boat because I get kind of swimmy in the head. But anyway, so I would say one of the things that was maybe a downside versus a vacation that, like, we plan and control and go do, would be limited food options. Like, we were just given a choice of three things every single day: beef,
But we
pork,
began to
chicken.
like that. When we had to make our own choice, it was very hard.
We were completely lost. I was like, I'm overwhelmed. Just order for me. I don't care. And then one thing was, you can't, when you're doing the travel service, you cannot switch up the plan. Like, that luggage is going ahead to that place, and you got to get there. You by foot or taxi, you have to be at this place. So there's less flexibility to change it up. And that's saying, because we have this weird RV life where we can be very flexible. If we like a place, we can stay longer or leave in 10 minutes. So it's not so much if you're using like the plan. Um, the good things about it that I would say over a vacation is that you get to achieve goals. Finishing the Camino, which is a vacation. I don't really. I mean, there's things that we might want to see, like points of interest or hikes we might want to take. But this was like a legit goal where we have a piece of paper that shows we did it. So getting to achieve a goal and then having surprise adventures along the Camino that we just could never have thought would happen because we've never done it before. That was a big plus. And it's definitely healthier because, like you said, you're walking all day, every day. It's so much healthier than just kind of laying on the beach or around a pool.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not feel like it was a working vacation. I did not. I felt it was just way, way better. The walking was not strenuous. The incline day was difficult, but it gave a really great reward. I felt like at the end, I was like, I feel like Superwoman. Like, we did this. So yeah, those are kind of maybe the pluses and minuses, I think, of it compared to just like a typical go to Disney World or something like that. Let's see, we have a couple more minutes. So maybe I would ask you, how do you think doing the Camino has grown you in any way?
Um, I think a lot of it, I struggle with now that both kids are in college. You know, one thing that always was heavy on me was parenting. So, I downloaded some books and listened to them and, listened to what God had to say. And there's, it just going there, it eliminates a lot of distractions that you have at home to where you can really listen and reflect. So that that was huge for me.
Wrestle out some things that you brought on your mind and kind of untie some of those knots. That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. Anything else?
Probably.
Well, for me, I really liked the physical challenge, and I know with, again, that weird RV life that we do is very physical. We do a lot of hiking, and RVs themselves are physical work. Everything takes more physical effort than being at home. But I realized that I really want more of my quote vacations to be physically challenging. And you and I talked about that. We were dreaming about some future fun things to do that involve physical challenges because, we are still young, but as we age, Lord willing, we want to continue to stay in our best health. And I think you and I saw that doing a physically challenging centered vacation was really great, and it was fun, and in itself was relaxing because the body's doing what it was born to do, move, and we slept good at night, after the first night for me. but it's like we worked hard, played hard, slept hard, which was really cool. Also, I really enjoyed reconnecting with nature. That's been actually one of the hardest things for me being home, has been to be inside. I got so used to being outside. Even in Portugal, we'd have breakfast and then we wouldn't come back till after dinner and we were just outside. And I'm walking around the house like, it's so dark in here. I feel the walls around me because we lived outside. We did, except for sleeping. And I love that. I loved reconnecting with nature. I have a new appreciation for the family and friends that I missed, of course. You come back, it's like, oh yeah, I want to see you. Like I want to see my kids. Two of them live out of state. It makes me miss them more. And now doing this, I think I could. I'm not going to speak for you, but I think I probably could in saying like, let's set new goals. We accomplished a goal, and that's now given me new energy to go. Okay, what's the next goal? Would you agree?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah. And on that note, new dreams. This was a crazy plan. We just started kind of lightly talking about a year ago and we did it. So it's like, wow, okay, what else do you want to dream up? It also gave me a new independence. I had never traveled overseas without my husband. I've traveled a lot of places overseas, as you have, but neither one of us without our husbands. And we did it and
We did
never
it. We
doubted.
navigated a lot. I mean, canceled uh, the canceled train, just lots of different things that came up. We all handled it.
Which taxi to get in and which way to go on the Camino when it was two different directions. Yeah, we did it. And I never thought that we couldn't, but we simply had not done that. So that everyone has to have a first for something. And that was our first time, different language, in Spain for sure. There was more of a language barrier. And yeah, we did it. And we're like, look at that. We didn't get lost. We didn't disappear. We came home with all of our arms and legs and we're good. We're healthy. So a new independence for sure. And for me, on the same lines as you, some inner healing with some of my own stuff and that God and I worked and wrestled out on the Camino. And I'll share more about that on another podcast. So definitely some inner healing. It's true that when you get close to nature, you get closer to God because he created everything. So yeah, so this has been so fun and I want to respect our time. Is there anything you want to add before we close?
Um, if there's something that you want to do in life, go for it, do it. Yeah. And which I think you said before. So yeah.
Talk yourself out of it. Just do it. And then you have a great story to tell and personal growth and great memories. And I just couldn't have asked for a better travel partner. You were just a rock star. And thank you for being so fun. And I had the time of my life, and I can't wait to do another adventure with you.
Me too. I mean, that was the most time we had spent together nonstop. And I think we were great travel partners.
Ditch me like day one because I try not to be extra, just extra follows me sometimes. And I was like, oh, she's going to be calling Bart going, eject, eject, get me out of here. And you didn't leave me. So thank you.
I told him the same thing. I said, we travel great together.
Yeah, even when we shared the same bed. Remember, we checked into one hotel and they're like, this was in Portugal. And it was so sweet for y'all to share your hotel points. And they're like, we gave you the deluxe room. And I was like, cool. I don't know what that means. So we went in there. We're like, oh, it's a king bed instead of two, whatever. That was funny. I was like, well, we just leveled up, Michelle. That was really, we had a good laugh about that. But well, thank you so much first for being willing to dream this crazy dream with me and then go do it with me. And you absolutely were a rock star. And thank you for your time with all these podcasts. I really, really appreciate it. It just is so much more fun hearing your memories and your perspective. And it was both of us there, so it felt fair to have both of us represented. And I mean, I've asked you to do this 10 times now, and I really appreciate it. So I can't wait to have you back on again for our next adventure. So we're going to have to get to work on dreaming about what that will be.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, everybody have a great day. Like Michelle said, if you have a dream in your heart, just go do it. Do it today. Go start planning today. There's your homework. All right, Michelle, I hope to see you soon. We're across the country from each other, but miss you guys and hope we can see you in person soon.
Yes. See you soon. Bye.
Buenos dias.
Thanks again for listening to Real Deep Stuff. Follow us and subscribe to save your seat at the table for the next conversation. Also, check out our Facebook page to continue the conversation on today's topic. We'll see you there.